Hey folks, I'm Doug Hensley, President of Hertz Real Estate Services, and I'm joined today by Jeff Trundle, President of Hertz Farm Management Services, and we're here to talk to you about a fairly broad brush topic, and that is, I might be inheriting a farm. What do I need to know? And Jeff, let's start there. What does someone need to know when they're coming into ownership on a farm?
Well, Doug, if you're going to inherit a farm, one of the important things to know is where's it located, how big is it, what kind of lease do I have on there, and what do I want to do with it once I inherit it. There are lots of people that can help you with that decision.
I think something that a lot of people want to know when they come into ownership of anything is what's it worth. And let's talk about a little bit about how somebody goes about doing that and establishing a value when it comes to a farm.
Yeah, Doug, certainly an appraisal of the farm is important for a number of reasons. The first being just to give you an idea of what your options are, but a more important reason is it sets the tax basis for that parcel. So if you decide to sell it down the road, you know what your basis is in the property to be able to determine your capital gains tax. You should work with your attorney on that and make sure that that information gets recorded at the county office. Even now with the increased exemption for federal estate tax, which is over $11 million, there are some attorneys that say it's not necessary to get that filed at the courthouse, but we recommend you do because it's an easy place to go find it someday.
Understand. One of the other common topics that we talk to folks about is their lease and just the termination deadlines that exist from state to state. Why don't we talk a little bit about that and the need behind that?
Sure. When you're going to inherit a farm, it's important to go ahead and leave all your options open, and the best way to do that is to terminate the current lease. In most states, you have to do that well ahead of when the lease ends, which is typically March 1st of each year. For example, in Iowa, September 1st is when you would have to notify your tenant that you want to make a lease change the next March 1st. Now, you may go back and write the same lease with that same tenant, but until you know exactly what you want to do, it's good to have those options open.
Sure, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about ownership and how someone would maybe want to take title to a farm and continue to own it and manage it. There's lots of different options there as well.
There certainly are. Some of the most common is, of course, if you're an individual, is to own it as a sole proprietor. But if you're going to inherit this with some other family members, we recommend you consider an entity. And two of the most common are the limited liability company, or an LLC. There's also a family limited liability limited partnership. And a couple of the advantages of that is, number one, it limits the liability for each of the owners within the entity, but it also helps set up a structure to make decisions, because I don't know about your family, Doug, but even though I've got a close family, they don't all think exactly alike, and so you need a way to make decisions.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we also encourage folks to do when they're coming into ownership of any asset is to work with legal counsel through the process of probate or just general estate administration, and we'd certainly encourage you to do that. If somebody has questions, how can they get a hold of us and get help?
Well, a great way to start is to just hop on our website at hertz.ag, and that'll give you a lot of information about all the things we do. When you're talking about an estate, you need a team of players. You need somebody to help you value that asset. You want somebody who can talk you through what it would be like to manage that asset if you kept it, or if you decided to sell it, how you would go about that. You want to work with us to do that and help you through that along with your attorney.
Yeah, and maybe that's a place to start, ladies and gentlemen, is just keep our 800 number handy. And you can call us toll free anytime at 800-593-5263, and we would be happy to serve you and walk with you through that process.